I don't know about you, but that just to me signals one hell of a good time about to be had by all. At least that's my take on it, but welcome everybody to the Paranormal Portal. I'm your host, Brent Thomas, and it's a Saturday night here. Thank you so much for spending half of your weekend with me. If you were here last night and you're here tonight, then by God, that's 2/3 of your weekend, and you're giving it to me. That's a hell of a gift. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming in and being a part of the journey. As always, we got a bunch of things to get through tonight. We're going to, of course, get to the news. We're going to get to the question of the week. And then I think we're going to spend a little extra time on cryptids tonight, just a little bit. Although there's one other thing that I want to get to, and as well as a new segment. What the hell is that? And I was working on that a little bit earlier today. So we'll hopefully it's moving along, at least in production value, but we'll see. We're going to get to that. Thanks for being a great host, Brent. Oh, Vince, you silver-tongued devil. I love it. Thank you. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much. Now, hi, Michelle Akivati's here. Good to see you over on Facebook. John Stevenson, Eric Fry is here on X. Great to have you all. From wherever you're watching. Don't see anybody over on Rumble yet, but that's okay. They'll come in if and when they can. But great to see you guys wherever you're watching from. Thank you so much for being a part of the journey. I know Rachel Gets It Right is here on YouTube. Bill Simone's here. And let's see who else. There's a lot of people here. Owl 13's in here. Sharon Sunshine is here. And let's see. Bad Boy came in. Good to see you, Bad Boy. Thanks for coming in, brother. All right. Other than that, I think that's the lion's share who is here. I haven't seen any other names popping up yet, but I'll keep watching for them, and I'll say hello when I do. I am not alone here tonight, folks. I am graced by that exceptional Southern presence. Dear friend, brother of mine, Mr. Tex Wesson is here with us. So welcome, brother. How you doing?
Man, if it was any better, I wouldn't be legal.
Yeah, now, just so you know, folks, tonight Tex is going to spend the first hour with us, but then he's got to take off and go do another show. The man is a machine of entertainment, and appreciate you spending at least some of the time with us tonight, brother. Thank you.
Looking forward to this one. It's been a while since I've been able to join you.
I know. Yeah, it's really not been the same without you, but I'm sure glad you made it work today. Great to have you here, always. Oh, okay. It's weird. I've been working regular people hours, and it's throwing me off. You're welcome back to the land of the living, huh? Yeah. I worked enough graveyards in my careers as well, all the different careers that I've done. I like graveyards personally, though. I always found them peaceful.
See, I'm a natural night owl anyway, so,
yeah.
it's now June 11th, I go back to night shift, so, and that will be for the foreseeable future.
Oh, good.
And
okay.
So I will be here more often with you.
Oh, God bless you. Well, that'll be great.
I will be off I'll have every other Saturday night off. So,
sure.
When I'm not, gallivanting around with my better half, I'll be here.
Wonderful. I see Barbara Moore just came in over on Rumble. Good to see you there, Barbara. I wondered if it was working over there, but I'm glad to see you pop in over there. Thank you for the message, and thank you all for being here. But yeah, Tex, you ready for, first of all, is there anything you wanted to mention on the lead into the show? Anything come up or any words to pass along?
Well, I've got a really interesting investigation coming up, and I'll brief everybody on it.
Please.
But we can do that after you get done with your whatever you're going to do, the news or whatever.
Oh, you want to do it after the news? Okay.
Yeah, we'll do it after the news because it's going to take a few minutes to explain what I'm doing.
Okay.
So
very good. All right. So I guess we'll just get the ball rolling, folks. Let's buckle up because we're going in. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the news. right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk. I'm your anchor, Brent Thomas, my co-anchor, Mr. Tex Wesson. As we dive into the news of the day, just so you know, not always is the Paranormal Portal news paranormal, but hopefully it's interesting, entertaining, informative, exciting. Hell, I don't know, just one of those, or all of them, or some parts of it. And we utilize a lot of different sites throughout the course of the shows, so please give these sites your love. Please give them your traffic. Visit them. Check them out. They do an exceptionally fantastic job. I really don't like this antivirus. It's really starting to piss me off. It'll pop up on top of everything. It'll interrupt anything I'm doing just to say, hey, I updated. It's like, damn it, I don't give one damn. You just keep working. Do your job. It's like the guy that comes in after everything they do on a job, like, hey, just scrub the toilets. It's like, hey, you're doing your job. Just do it. Maybe it's just me, Tex, but sometimes technology is just like a bad employee.
Oh, I get it.
So anyway, as we use different sites. Hi, Amanda's Crazy Life channel. Good to see you. Hello, Elaine. Clifford came in. I see those names. Lisa Marie came in. Good to see you all. Thanks for coming in. Rock and Rory's here as well. So I'm just shouting out the names as I see them come up. So welcome, everybody. But give these channels, these stations, these websites your love. They are working exceptionally hard to do these incredible sites, and they need your love. They need your visits. They need your traffic to help pay the bills. So please do that. We're going to start with some archaeology and histories from an amazing site that we use every news. And this is from a site called unexplained-mysteries.com. And I love this site. It's just an exceptional source of great material. So let's get to this now. Here we go. And it says, as you may or may not have known in recent months, I guess they've been talking about doing a pretty comprehensive survey, apparently on a mountaintop in Turkey, where it's believed that Noah's Ark might be resting, or what's left of Noah's Ark. So they did find a site, and as you look at the image, and we'll get to it in just a second as I scroll down, maybe if I scroll down, you can see that image on your screen is a strange rock formation that does seem to look like a boat that came to rest how many thousands of years ago. So it could be that is what's left of Noah's Ark, but they've been starting to do some surveys on it. So this is kind of a follow-up article I thought it'd be fun to cover, because I know I'm kind of waiting with bated breath to see what they find. It says
Absolutely.
You've heard about this then too, Tex, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it says ground-penetrating radar has reportedly revealed tantalizing evidence at the Duru Pinar formation. The site, which has long been rumored to be the final resting place of the biblical vessel, is situated approximately 3 kilometers north of the Iranian border at around 6,500 feet above sea level. Researchers from all over the world have investigated the site over the years, but the question of whether it really is the final resting place of Noah's Ark or simply a natural formation remains up in the air. Now, a new series of scans conducted at the site by Andrew Jones of Noah's Ark Scans, that's the name of his company, I guess. He must have stayed up late coming with that one.
Yeah, right.
And his colleagues have revealed that what appears to be the most tantalizing evidence yet that something might be up there. Using ground-penetrating radar, Jones believes that he has uncovered signs of a tunnel-like void running through the center of the formation, as well as additional angular structures inside of it. The scan also reportedly show 3 distinct layers matching biblical descriptions of the Ark's 3 decks. The team claims that this represents evidence of interior corridors and rooms. We're not expecting something that's fully preserved, Jones told the Christian Broadcasting Network. What's left is the chemical imprint, pieces of wood, and in the ground, the shape of a hull. I think he meant Hull, but it says hull. These findings are not what you'd expect to see if the site were simply a solid block of rock or the result of random mudflow debris. But it is exactly what you'd expect to find if this were a man-made boat consistent with the biblical speculations of Noah's Ark. Given the skepticism around the nature of the Durapinar formation, it will likely take some pretty concrete evidence to convince the archaeological community that this is indeed Noah's Ark. Jones and his team are hoping to conduct additional scans and the core drilling samples. So more details on their findings should be revealed over the coming months. It's kind of exciting, huh, Tex?
Oh, absolutely. And I don't understand why it's been so hard for it to be verified. If the structure's there,
Yeah.
wouldn't there be wood?
Right. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be a rock structure. But although there has been, and I know this is going to sound strange, guys, but there has been ships that were made of concrete.
Oh, right. I had heard of that. Still never heard of a Led
Actually,
Zeppelin,
one
though.
of them lays in just outside of Galveston. It's in Galveston Bay.
Wow.
It was it was a military ship made out of concrete.
Jeez.
So
Pretty.
I guess it's not out of the realm of possibility, but they don't say that's how it's made back in in the Bible. They talk about
Right.
wood and everything. So
Sure. Yep.
I don't know. I mean, what would happen? Now here's a question. We know we can make it out of concrete and float.
Sure.
The only rock that floats,
Pumice.
natural rock that floats, is lava rock.
Yeah.
Pumice.
Yeah.
What if you made an entire boat out of pumice?
That's interesting. Yeah. I'm not sure how that would, I guess it would work. I mean, hell, if you can make it out of concrete, you could, make it out of anything. It's all about water displacement, just having enough water displaced to support the tonnage of the material itself. So, yeah. I mean, it seems to me that you could make it from pretty much anything you wanted. As long as the structure was correct, it would float. That's pretty cool, though. What do you think this implies? Let's say they do say, look, this is a freaking boat on the mountain. There's only one story. This has to be Noah's Ark. What do you think that means?
Well, I think that if this turns out to be the legit thing, this will turn the Darwin theory on its ear. I think that it puts all the questions of the Great Flood to rest.
Sure.
Because just about every, I mean, if you look at it this way, just about every civilization has a story about a great flood.
Right.
It's not just the Christian community.
Sure.
So,
Very true.
and there's been so much debate about it. Did it really happen? Did it not? That type of thing. Where's the evidence and all that kind of, and both sides come up with evidence to support their argument, right?
Yes.
But I think this would lay it to rest. I mean, 6,500 feet in the on top of a mountain. There you go.
Yeah. How did it get there if it wasn't by a big flood? And,
Right.
I mean, this is 6,500 feet above sea level. That's how big the flood was.
And the size of this thing, and if it does in fact have the 3 decks that it talks about,
Yeah.
and everything, the only thing that bothers me about this is, why is it a rock structure?
Well, I think it's the mineralized deposits of what was once wood, is what it
Well,
is.
Well, see, that's what I would think too, but
Or the displaced material from the boat that actually sat there. In other words, maybe it was
that may be it too.
there's the story of the mud floods, and so
Yes.
maybe we're looking at the I don't know, solidified masses of soil or whatever that came to rest against the sides of this thing as it came to rest on this mountain. I don't know, just thoughts, but I don't pretend to understand it, but I do think the fact, like you just mentioned, and they mentioned in the story, three levels, just like those referenced in the Bible, looks like hallways, corridors, and chambers on their ground penetrating radar. I guess this really speaks a lot to the Christian faith and to the Torah and any of the Abrahamic religions really become reinforced by this, because now it's not just a matter of legend and potential lore. but you have at least concrete examples of what seems to be the remnants of these stories actually being an existing event.
Absolutely.
So I think that's
Absolutely.
pretty cool. I do. I mean, I am a person of faith, and my faith is probably plenty atypical to a lot of more mainstream observations. But I really believe that some incredible things have happened and continue to happen, and that's we are just got to open our eyes to see it. I think this is great if it's real. I really do. I think it's wonderful.
Well, yeah, I think it's. I hope it is. I really do.
Sure.
I would. Would it be interesting to see what the mainstream scientific community comes up with to explain this one away?
Yeah. Well, my God, I mean, look at how they explain away UFO sightings, and those are happening now. They're not archaeological remnants. But also look at Graham Hancock, all of his work into a lot of the ancient archaeology, and a whole different take. And a lot of it goes against the mainstream archaeology, but he's researched the hell out of it and has come up with some pretty compelling examples of why they're wrong. And they won't even acknowledge it because it's such an arrogance and hubris,
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I read an article by an archaeologist and not too long ago, and he literally said that everything that ever existed is either alive or they have discovered it in the fossil record. I'm like,
oh no, wow, that is such
what?
What the hell?
They're discovering new species in the fossil record every day. How can you even say that?
Yeah, it's a developing work all the time. They're always digging up
Cabin.
new stuff. And the ghost box says cabin. I wonder if they're talking about the Ark. Yeah, it would be a big cabin if that's what you're talking about. It'd be a big cabin. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Had to treat myself to a Coke today, Tex. I haven't drank these. I drink maybe 1 or 2 a month, and I don't know, just tasted good today, brother. So, I don't know. I think it's exciting. So, any updates, we'll be sure to bring them to you as much as we can, as much as I am aware of them. But if you guys see updates to this story as well, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see what you guys have found, and we can certainly look into those as well. But you ready for the next one, Tex?
Oh, let's do it.
All right, here we go, folks. Article number 2 is coming up. And this one's a lot more ambiguous. The hell, this could have been part of What the Hell Is That, the new segment that I'm doing on the shows, but because I just didn't think there was much to look at on this one. Not even enough to really dive into too much, but let's hear the reports. This also comes from unexplained-mysteries.com. Man captures creepy trail camera footage of strange figure in Arizona. All right, well, let's see what it says. Someone or something who seemingly lurking in a remote drainage ditch in the early hours of the morning. A couple of months back, Danny Pusher of Fort Apache, Arizona, posted on Facebook to report that he'd spotted something strange on a trail camera footage recorded near his home. He had set up a camera to see if he could capture anything unusual after hearing a peculiar howling or crying noise coming from the darkness at around 5 a.m. a couple of days earlier. Well, sure enough, he checked back the footage. He spotted a strange figure that seemed to have been walking alone along a drainage ditch at 2:22 a.m. in the morning. Well, spooked by the sighting, he posted the footage up online to get a second opinion. And it says, at 2:22 a.m. early this morning, trail cam caught something walking in the drainage. Not sure if it's a skinwalker / Bigfoot / someone walking the drainage alone at 2:22 a.m., he wrote. The footage he captured does appear to show someone or something walking in the darkness. Even if we assumed it was just a person, why were they there at such an ungodly hour? You can check out the footage for yourself below. And by God, we're going to do that, Tex. That's the beauty of the interwebs. We can check it out. This comes from Danny Pusher's YouTube page, I guess. I think this is YouTube. But anyway, the gentleman's name is Danny Pusher. Let's check out his video. Here it is. It's really... Oh, it's a Facebook video, I guess. I'm going to make it even bigger here. Hold on. Okay, let's go back to the beginning and do this again. There's the image. It appears to be bipedal.
Yeah.
This is exceptionally zoomed in, though. You can tell because you can see the patterning on the screen from the pixels. And you know that that is very up close.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the video. But, well, first, Dex, what do you make of that?
Well, I find it odd that this clip starts and it's already in the middle of the screen.
Good take. Good take. Yep. Yep.
You know, where's the prior footage?
Yeah. How did it get there?
It's already throwing red flags to me. You know, and there's nothing that sticks out. I would have to see, you know, you obviously could take measurements if you know, to try to recreate the footage or
sure,
you know, debunk it, which you should. If you get something strange on camera, do your due diligence and try to debunk it, because I'm not seeing anything that doesn't say just a guy walking around at 2:00 in the morning. Right.
So, you know, and this is the thing. This is obviously very, very zoomed in on his trail cam video because, and this is the patterning I'm talking about. I don't know if you can see that on your screens, but there's almost a checkerboard pattern, but this is actual pixels. And if we're zoomed in that close to where pixels are visible, hell, this could be a running lizard for all we know. You know, I mean, honestly, it could be that small. It doesn't have to be something huge. And we don't know the distance between this weed and this ridge. It could be 5 feet, or it could be 50. You know, there's just so many unanswered questions about it. And you're right. Why is it already in the middle of the screen? Why was that when the video starts? Why was the rest of it not included? Or why wasn't it triggered? Well, maybe it's a tiny little thing. You know, I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas at it. But the biggest thing for me is that it's so blown up that I can actually see the pixel grid. Yeah. And that's never a good start. You know, in my opinion, anyway. So, and then even if it was, let's say it is a big thing, like human size-ish. Well, right. There's no way you can make out that from this. You can never distinguish between a dog man, a skinwalker, a person, or a Bigfoot with this much detail. Yeah. So that's kind of my take on it. So, you know, I guess it could have been a what the hell video. Guess we have a double header for what the hell tonight. What the hell is that? That's my new segment text that I started on the show.
I love it.
It's called What the Hell is That? So we'll get into another video of that tonight. And then not all of the segments, all of the videos are not going to be, you know, goofy or AI stuff that I want to expose. Some of it's just going to be interesting stuff. So we'll get to tonight's video. I thought was a lot of fun because it really seems amazing. And we'll get to that right after the news here. But we got one more article to cover on the news. And by God, sir, we should probably do that. But there's the video. Tell me what you think, what you don't think. You know, it could be. I'm not saying it can't be something paranormal, but it's just there's not much to work with here other than, hey, I caught this at night on a trail camera in Arizona. Okay.
Yeah, it could have been. I've seen a lot better videos.
Yeah, amen. All right, here we go. This is the last one up for tonight. And this is more of a informative post. Has to do with the UFO phenomena from unexplained-mysteries.com. UFO Festival in Oregon marks 75th anniversary of infamous case. Oh, you remember these pictures, Tex? The old, the hubcap. It looks like a, and I'm not saying it is, but it's that traditional. Is it really way up there, or is it just a little bit out of the focal length? I don't know. Anyway, let's check out the story here. The town of McMinnville will be filled with festival goers on May 17th in celebration of a rather notorious UFO case. At 7:30 p.m. on May 11th, 1950, Evelyn Trent had been walking to her farmhouse near McMinnville, Oregon, when she reported seeing a metallic disc moving slowly across the sky. Well, she called for her husband, Paul Trent, to come outside to see what he thought it could be. Keen to take a photograph, he returned to the house briefly to fetch his camera, and he managed to take 2 shots before the metallic disc sped up and disappeared towards the west. The following month, the 2 photographs, alongside the headline, "At long last, authentic photographs of flying saucer?" appeared in the local McMinnville telephone register. There's a newspaper, it was called the Telephone Register. The images would go on to become 2 of the most heavily debated pieces of UFO evidence ever captured, with UFO investigators, scientists, and photography experts all weighing in on their authenticity. While many believed that the couple had captured something unusual, others were more skeptical, instead insisting that the photographs had been faked. One popular theory is that the flying saucer was in fact a wing mirror from a vehicle that had been suspended with fishing line from the overhead cables to make it look like it was floating in the air. Whatever the case, 50 years later, the town of McMinnville began to celebrate the incident by holding an annual UFO festival that continues to this day, with this year marking its 75th anniversary. As usual, the town will play host to various festivities, including guest speakers, fancy dress, and screening of a new documentary covering the incident, and much more besides. Well, there you go. So if you're not busy and you're in the Oregon McMinnville area, head over to the festival. I'll be coming up on the 17th, which is today. It's happening right now.
Yeah.
It's the 17th today. So if you're after the show, go check out the festival. I don't know. Maybe it's too late. But anyway, interesting. What do you think, Tex? What do you think of that image, first of all?
You know, okay, we have to take it for what it is because it's 1950.
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, folks, if you go look at the movies from 1950, they're not this good.
True.
Okay.
That's true.
So evidently these people could fake a UFO better than Hollywood could in 1950.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's like the difference between Flash Gordon and Star Wars, really.
Yes.
Yeah. Very true.
So if it's verified that these photographs are from 1950, I'm going to say they caught something.
Interesting. Yeah. I think it's possible. I mean, what the hell do I know? I do see where you could look at that and go, well, maybe it's just a car mirror. Maybe it's because they used to look at the post on top where that would fit into the socket that connected to the car. I mean, it's possible.
Oh, yeah.
It could be, but it could also be very legitimate. Trick photography has been around since the 1800s, honestly. You do the trick photographs where you expose quick, standing up, but you got your head hidden, and then you bend down to about your hand level and make it look like you're holding your own head. I did a photography class where we did trick photography like that, and it's been around, since the darkroom days of the 1800s. You could do trick photographs or double exposures or whatever. So it's not impossible it could have been fake, but it does look pretty good. I don't know. I wasn't there. She was the only one there, so
Yep.
it'll remain with her, I guess. So there you go. This wraps up tonight's News Fest here on the Paranormal Portal. Hope you guys enjoyed it and got some value from it. So let's get back to the rest of the show. That means it's time for us to get back to work, Tex. Intermission's over. All right. So I think I'm gonna do the new segment now. You ready for this, Tex? Let me just cue up a couple things. Why don't you take a moment and tell us a little bit about what's going on, the investigation that you're going to do.
I'm really excited about this because it's something that in these circles of ours that we run, nobody's doing that I'm aware of.
Oh, cool.
I will be doing an underwater investigation / fossil hunt.
Ooh, okay.
Because I've been a diver since I was 14 years old, and I've made a friend that was a underwater cameraman for National Geographic and Travel Channel and many others.
Wonderful.
And over on Dogman Ranch, where we've been going and investigating here lately, there's a creek that runs through it, and it's got a limestone bottom, and you cannot walk without stepping on a fossil in this place. It's unbelievable. It's crazy.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, you've mentioned that.
And yeah, well, this creek is spring fed, and it's crystal clear.
Oh, nice.
And it's got deep holes in it that are anywhere from waist deep to, maybe 8 feet deep, something like that. And from above, you can see the limestone shells that come out. And I don't know how deep they go back, but we're going to be exploring that. And yes, I do. I went and bought my snorkeling gear the other day and an underwater camera.
Oh, nice.
So
wow.
We will be filming that. And this camera is really cool because it's a body / head cam.
Okay.
And it's got adjustable LEDs on it. I can turn it up to 200 lumens.
Oh.
And I can also, it has blue lights and red lights on it also if I want to go that route. So I can get back up into these. I can put the camera, if I don't if I don't feel comfortable going up in the opening, if I can't fit, which is more likely the case, but I can get the camera up in there and see what we can see, and so you'll be seeing those videos hit the channel here by the end of the month, I think.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, that's exciting. Yeah. There's layers of stuff going on in that property, so yeah, wouldn't surprise me if some of it was subterranean.
So I'm really, and I mean honestly, there's no telling what kind of fossils or fossilized tracks or whatever we may run into under the water. Nobody's done this before,
right?
And on this property at all, so we don't know.
Very
cool. Right up the road, well, I say right up the road in Texas, it's right up the road, about an hour and a half away. We've got Dinosaur Valley that the Paluxy River runs through, and they've got a lot of fossilized dinosaur footprints. Oh. Not only that, they have debatably found, of course, mainstream science doesn't recognize this, but they found a dinosaur footprint with a fossilized human footprint inside of it.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
So I'm very excited about that. Yeah, and I've already got my next project in the brainstorming stage. I'm going to be doing a lot of this underwater stuff in the coming months, I hope.
Yeah, that's something that you're exceptionally qualified for. That most not many other people in the entire country could follow in those footsteps. Honestly, that's a whole different category. There's plenty of divers, but there's not plenty of divers that are interested in looking into this stuff. So yeah, so I think that's fantastic.
I'm also on this trip. I will also be, we talked about my crawler experience, and I will be staying where I've saw this thing, I will be camping alone, and we'll see what happens.
Well, I guess we'll see. I'll be waiting here safely in the comfort of my home. That's fantastic, though. My hat's off to you, brother. I hope you have wonderful experiences and you bring back some great stuff for the rest of us, man. That's awesome. Yes. Okay.
So if anybody ever wonders what your super chats and things go for, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Mine pay the internet bill.
That too.
Yeah, that too. All right. I'm looking for my transition. Here we go, folks. It's time for... What the hell's that?
What the hell is that?
I worked up today. All right, here we are, folks. This is a video that I thought was pretty interesting, and it looks like a tragic image. It looks like a tragic image that you're seeing on your screen. This is a video that comes from, as far as I can tell, it comes from Melina Patriots' Facebook page, Melina Patriots, and I thought this was fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. First, I'll just let you watch it. Let me close John Temperin, giving me some love there on the thumbs up. I appreciate it, John. All right, let's check out this video. See what you guys think. We'll discuss it afterwards. Without the music, I don't need the copyright strikes. Watch those birds. They're coming in, and they're posing like they're injured. Like, get out of the way. This is my injury. And the caption says, these birds saw a person feed an injured bird, so they all started pretending to be injured as well. Right? How smart is that? I mean, come on. I don't know what kind of birds these are, but they seem to be pretty brilliant to watch and go, no kidding, that guy was hurt. And look at that. He got some food. Everybody get over there and act hurt. Quick. I mean, that's brilliant, right, Tex?
That's awesome.
Do you think we maybe under assess the intelligence of wild animals?
Oh, I absolutely think we do.
That video just cracks me up. Look at them. They're posing right there. And this other one comes in. Oh, yeah, I'm hungry too. Oh, yeah, got to look hurt. Here we go. Oh. And then the other guy goes, no, you're in my spot. Get the hell out of here. This is my spot.
Look, I look more hurt than he does.
Yeah. Look at my wing. It's way hurt.
Yeah.
These birds are incredibly smart. Even corvids are grifting. Yeah. I don't know if these are corvids. Maybe they are. Maybe they're part of the crow family somehow, which would make sense because they're incredibly smart animals, especially in the bird kingdom. But my God, I was just blown away by this. How observant are they? And we just definitely underestimate the ability of these things to watch and learn, right?
Wait, I'm waiting for a bird to walk up and says, we'll fly for food.
Yep, exactly. Well, there you have it. That was today's What the Hell. And I thought it was neat because, again, again, we only have a little snapshot into the window of this experience. I don't know what kind of history predates this, how often this person went out and fed injured birds, and then they went, hey, just act injured. I don't know. But to me, it's incredible because it just gives us a glimpse into a profound level of insight on their observation skills. And we don't give animals enough credit, I don't think.
No, not at all.
Man.
Well, and if we start talking about cryptids, we talk about, and very, very often I compare Bigfoot intelligence to killer whales. Which is another video that I put out about these killer whales sinking these ships over on the Strait of Gibraltar.
Yep, I've heard of that.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, it started like with one female, and she's been teaching the other pods how to do it.
Yeah, now there's a gang of them, like 40 of them.
Oh God, yeah.
And another strange thing that they're doing is it seems to be the juveniles that are doing this to the boats. All the adults are like backed off and just watching.
Really?
Yeah. Are they practicing for something bigger here?
Ooh.
They're going to sink a battleship or something.
I don't know if there's enough killer whales in the ocean to sink a real battleship, but
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, ocean liner or a big
yeah,
yacht or something, because
right.
the boats they're attacking are like 35, 45 feet.
Yeah, that's pretty
You know,
exceptional. Jeez. That's also creepy though, right?
yeah, and they're not just ramming them. No, no, no. If it was just ramming them, I could see where, because one guy says that he thinks he's a killer whale specialist, and he says that because they're just big dolphins, which they are, they're the
Uh-huh.
largest species of dolphin,
Uh-huh.
that this is happening and they're just playing with the boats. They're racing the boats like dolphins will.
Oh.
And they're just unintentionally nudging these boats. No, they're not. They're taking out the rudders and
Oh.
then ramming the boats until they sink.
Oh, really? So it's very, very much strategic.
Yes.
Oh God. Wow. That's that's frightening. Actually,
I know, right?
that's
And
exceptionally
there's
frightening.
and and there's different there's black and white differences of the way they're telling people how to deal with this.
Okay.
Some of them, one side is telling people to, just keep going and get out of the way, right?
Okay.
Other people are telling people, stop your boat and just sit there.
No, don't do that. Right? Don't. That
Yeah.
that
Why?
seems like the worst.
What?
Yeah.
If you see killer whales, stop your boat.
No, don't do that. Right. Hit the gas. Punch
Yeah.
it. Punch it, Margaret.
Now most of the boats that they're attacking are sailboats, or
Oh,
and there's no way they can outrun the
sure.
whales. There's no way, because a killer whale, I think I read, yeah, they can swim up to 35 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's
These boats
way
top
too fast.
speed are like 10 miles an hour.
Yeah,
They don't
yeah,
have a prayer,
yeah.
you know. The
Wow.
sailboats anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh, that's frightening as hell. I can't believe that. I mean, I do believe it. It just makes me wonder what is the impetus of that moment?
yeah.
What made them go, I'm getting awful tired of them. Let's start sinking them. You know, I mean, what event was it? Was it whaling maybe? Was it fishermen dragging them up and entangling them in nets and they got to watch their loved ones drown because they can't surface? Or what?
Well, and see, and that's something else that's being talked about too, is because orcas are known for basically holding a grudge.
Oh, yeah, I'll bet. I'll bet.
Now, was this female that started all this? Did she have a calf that was hurt by
Right.
one of these boats,
Sure.
or these type of boats? And this is revenge?
Yeah, could be. Kind
You
of like
know,
the whole
I'm
premise for
sorry,
Jaws.
revenge is a human emotion last time I checked.
Yeah, but I mean, even like crows, if you do something mean to a crow, man, they will torment you after that. Like they are way into vengeance, you know. So, but you're right. I mean, we
Yeah.
certainly equate that as a human level type of emotion and cycle of logic. But yeah, maybe these animals are getting pissed. That's it. They're just done
Yeah.
screwing around,
I mean,
Tex.
yeah. I mean, we're talking about an animal that was smart enough to figure out that if they grabbed a shark by its pectoral fin, flipped it upside down, and they put it in a catatonic state, they could eat the liver at leisure.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's also like a Silence of the Lambs thing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a little disturbing. Wow. Okay. Well, it's interesting. I don't know if there's got to be something, the origin of this kind of anger or this dislike for boats, and I'll bet you it has to do just with what you were saying. Some calf got run over by a prop and got sliced up and couldn't make it, and it was like, all right, game on. And so the horror has begun. That's
Right?
pretty frightening stuff, though. Wow. But this has been What the Hell Is That? Hope you enjoyed today's video. A little different take, but kind of a glimpse into maybe the animal kingdom's a lot more advanced than we give them credit for. Just saying. Something to think about. But there you go. What the hell is that? That's my new segment. So
I love it.
now I know you got to leave in just a few minutes, huh?
Mm-hmm. I
Okay.
do, unfortunately.
Well, if you want to just let people know where to stay in touch with you, where you're going now, in case when they get done with me, they want to come over and head over. What's going on?
Well, I mean, I'm over on the YouTube channel and, Texas Front Porch, and it's TEX apostrophe S because it's my front porch. And go over there and hit subscribe because I'm only what am I? 70. Yeah, I'm 70 people, 70 subscribers away from 6,000. I would love to see that.
Congratulations. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's if you go over here and subscribe, you're going to get to see all this, these underwater videos that we're going to be filming and stuff. So
Yeah.
come over and say hi.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So when you're done watching the portal, head over to Texas Front Porch and give the man a boost. Give him some love. Show him some of that portal love because he's been coming over here showing you guys his Texas kind of love. We love his Texas
That sounds
love.
freaky.
I'm just saying, Tex, you bring in the love. That's all I can say. And we appreciate it.
I love you, brother. And I'll be glad when I get back on my night shift and we can start spending some more time together, man. It's
All right,
because
man.
I love coming over here.
Well, thank you, brother. It's been a pleasure, and have a great night. Have a great show, and we'll be here waiting for you, man.
Thank you, brother. Have a
All
good
right.
one, man.
Good night.
All right.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Texas of Texas Front Porch. Just been a lot of fun to have him come on and be on the shows with me. He's an exceptional guy, very, very kind, and has been making the show just a little bit better on Saturday nights. It's always nice to have someone to talk to directly for me. Not that I don't talk with all of you guys anyway, but you know what I mean. So we are going to get to some question of the week time now. I would have loved for Tex to have been able to stay for that, but we ended up going along with other stuff. And then we're going to go right to the cryptids. Because there's an article I want to deal with. It's going to be a new source for the cryptid corner, but I think it should be a pretty good one. I don't know how long it is, though, so we're going to find out together. But I guess right now we're going to get to the next part of our journey, which is this part. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, for... All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the question of the week. I think this is the right one. Is this the right one, or is this the wrong one? Whoops, what the hell did I do? Yeah, that is the one. That's the question of the week from our very own Mr. Chucky Danger. I don't know if Chucky's in tonight, but hopefully he's okay. And having a good night, whatever he's doing. But I don't think we've come up with this. Have we done this one? What the hell? This one was from the 5th. Is there not one for tonight? Let me see. What does the calendar look like? Whoops, that's the wrong calendar. Let me pull up my calendar here because the 5th seems like a couple of weeks ago, doesn't it? Yeah, we should have got to this one. I don't know. Maybe Chucky didn't get around to doing one. Is there? Did Chucky do a question of the week for this week? Maybe he didn't have a chance. I'm just looking. Chromegs. I don't know. Anybody know? Rachel, are you familiar with him doing another question of the week this week? Or Maggie or anybody? Let me know if you do. I thought we ended with Rachel's last time, though. I thought she had the last one from last weekend. And then we've got more since then on that same thread, which I guess we could read for now. I don't think you did that one. No, we did it last. I know I read Rachel's last. We did the question of the week on Friday night last week because Dave Scott was on Saturday. So unless Yeah, I'm right. Dave Scott was on last week, so he did the question of the week on Friday night instead. So if you weren't here on Friday night, you wouldn't have heard it. But we got another spammer over on Twitch. If anybody's over there, one of our mods can boot that off. I'd appreciate it. I think only Lucky Gypsy's the mod over there. I don't think I ever promoted anybody else, so it might just be there, and that's fine. Usually there's some non-members. Well, we did have, what is that? Was good. I don't know. I don't think we got a new question, but I remember reading Rachel's last, but I see ability to bounce from here to where. What the question was, and I'm going to read the last couple just so we can cover it again, but the question was for this last week, there's lots of stories about Sasquatch doing paranormal things in encounters and many more that don't get recorded or mentioned. With the recent release of the telepathy tapes and the documentation of psychic spy programs, some of the woo-woo researchers are getting some vindication, on the possibility of some of these abilities being possible in Sasquatch. What are some of the paranormal aspects of Sasquatch that you find believable and quite possibly explainable with further study? Do you believe any of what people report that is considered woo-woo? And as I said last time, Chucky may have thought we were still on it. Maybe he missed it and thought it would still be good for this week. That's okay. We'll start with, it always does this. Hawk Putu. Hawk Putu. The Hawk Tua is that one girl, but here's Hawk Putu. The ability to bounce from here to wherever, they go whenever they either cloak or fully just go into another plane. I don't know how else to word it. It sounds extremely ridiculous, but there is something to it. I can't remember if this is where I shared a story I have about it, but the main points of it were: one is spotted on a fishing hunt camp. Owner goes to a person that sees more than the rest of us. The man tells him to clean the camp's dump site. He cleans it up, changes its location, and hairy man never comes back. Oh. The man said the dump was dirtying up the area and they enter this world at. So even if, yes, it's flesh and blood, and witnesses attest to them being nothing, but there is something extra about them. They can do more, probably why they're so elusive. It's a good point. Good possibility. I guess anything's possible. So that was Hawk Putu's idea. The Batman comes in next, says, this is from the 13th. I don't believe they are flying spaceships or operating complicated devices designed for interdimensional travel. I don't think I've ever heard any evidence of their tool usage or any tools. I'm unaware of anyone finding food caches. If I was a Squatch and found an orchard or grove of food-bearing trees, bet your ass I would steal a pile of apples or such near me, nest for later, but I digress. In short, I've not heard anything believable regarding them showing behaviors indicating much abstract thought and or foresight. I think they are animals, but damn smart ones. More on that in a minute. And he goes on. If you've ever seen an evolutionary tree, it gives a false sense of linear progression. The structure is more accurately represented as a bush with lots of variety of similar results. In short-ish, I think they may be original inhabitants of the earth that lost a passive-aggressive war that they never got to fight. Oh, the ghost box says energy. Maybe it's implying that they are energetic beings, huh? If we as a species are the result of external forces tweaking our genetic content from time to time and being derived from a damn smart hominid a long time ago, then Sasquatch might be our forefathers or closely related to them. It would also explain why UFOs are spotted in the area associated with Sasquatch. They may be abducting them as well from time to time to get some unaltered or corrupted original genetic juice, DNA, to study or work with. Too much information? No, it was great. That was fantastic. I've talked to an experiencer. They thought it was a dream, but as they described it, I'm like, I think you may have actually been abducted. They described going to sleep and then having this incredibly vivid, bizarre dream of being in a craft or in in a strange room with these strange creatures all around them, these aliens like grays. And then the person said, they looked around the room and it was this really clinical, like dark room, but there were some lights with lighted panels with weird equipment on it. But she looked over at a table near her, and there was sitting on top of that was what she could only describe as a Sasquatch just sitting there. And they locked eyes, and she said that its eyes were incredibly wise and humble, and she could see it was perplexed and confused, but it was looking at her, who was in the same situation. And so if indeed she was literally abducted, it sounds like she witnessed that Sasquatch was also abducted. And I think that that's probably pretty likely that they are abducted too. A lot of people put that 2 and 2s together to equal, well, I saw a UFO, and then right after that I saw Bigfoot, so it seems to me they must have been dropped off by the UFO. But most people equate that to them riding here on UFOs. But why wouldn't they be abducted just like other human beings are? And I think that that's more likely personally. So I think that's a great take. Never TMI. So let's go to Josh Castro, who said they could be Cro-Mags who have kept in touch with things we lost. Yeah, I believe Bigfoot can do crazy stuff. We can too, though. But we forgot how to. Some of us can tap into the woos, so to speak. I don't like the woo term, just saying. Yeah, me neither. I've never really cared for it. Kev Baker loved the woo term, though. And I love Kev, so I've tolerated it because of my love for Kev Baker. Don't forget, we live in a strange world where anything is possible. Good question, Junkie. And John T says, I have a question. Why YouTube members only? Oh, yeah, that was, if you came in last night, let's just address this again, because what happened was on Tuesday, I did a members only stream for our growing membership here on the channel. I'm like, well, I got to start investing in this and giving them some reason to want to be a member other than just having a green name with some emojis. And so I started thinking it's time to do some streams. So last Tuesday, I did an impromptu member stream. Then if you recall, Wednesday, I was feeling sick and didn't do a show. So and then I came back on Friday like, yeah, I feel better. I'm going to do a show. But what I didn't do was switch the viewership from members back to public. Now, before we launched, just moments before, Sheldon goes, hey, by the way, the YouTube video is set to members. And I'm like, oh, God, I forgot to change that. So I did change it again. However, the link that I published, I never thought to go back and change that on the social media, because people clicked on the social media links, which were a member-only link to that stream. So there should have been a new link that I pasted to make it available to everybody, but I didn't think about it. I didn't even know that it wouldn't just change it and make it active with the same link. But now that I think back on it, it's like, yeah, because I got several messages from people like, I was going to go check out the show, but it said members only. So that's why. It was only because I first, forgot to change it to public when I was setting up the show. And then B, when I changed it to public prior to launching the show, I didn't update the link. So people still used the member link, which brought them to a member blockade. So my apologies for that. Sorry, my eye's kind of burning. My apologies for that, though. I didn't mean it. It was an oversight on my part. John T answered again. Okay, just wondering. Yeah, that's all. It was just my own oversight. So I just wanted to address that again. Thank you for bringing it up, John, because I have seen several more messages since last night. Hey, I tried to watch, but it was members only. That sucks. And I was like, oh, shoot. So it was my fault. I just messed up when I was setting it up. But I was under the weather a little bit. I mean, I was on Wednesday for sure, but by Friday I was feeling much better. Not perfect, but better. And then I just didn't think, wasn't thinking clearly when I was setting up the show. So my apologies. But there we go. That's just so you know. Now we're all up to speed on that. So that was the question of the week. Again, we kind of kept going on the one from 2 weeks ago, but that's okay. There were some new answers that we never had covered, so I appreciate it. Everybody that took the time to weigh in on the question of the week. Again, special thanks to Chucky Danger and for his incredible ability to come up with these amazing questions. The guy has just been wonderful, a huge help. And Linda says it was a fun show. Good. I was too, Brent. So all good. Tooth pulled, and I feel good now. Oh, good, good. I'm glad. Yeah, I've had dental work done where I had an impacted wisdom tooth that kind of it went south in a hurry, and I had to get that yanked out last maybe 8 months ago, and I know what you mean. They're agonizing things, and once you get them out, it kind of sucks for a day or two, but then after that, it's like, oh, that's what no pain feels like. So I feel ya. I feel ya. Okay. John says he found a way. Okay, good deal. All right. All right. No more chatting on Discord to me because I'm going to close it now. So chat in the chat window on the live stream. So thank you, everybody who weighed in. Thank you for participating in the question of the week. And this has been the Discord question of the week. All right, that was the question of the week, folks. Next time I go to that screen, it's going to bring that up again because I forgot to shut it off before the end of that screen. So it's going to come up again. I'm going to look like an idiot, but at least you know it's coming. We can all laugh together. All right, so we're going to get to some cryptid corner stuff. And why not? Why not? Let's do that. What time is it? Yeah, it's 8:05. We got some time. Because I'm going to include an extra article. It's more of a comprehensive article, but it deals with a cryptid of sorts. I don't know if it definitely falls into the cryptid category, but you'll see what I mean in a moment. Not that one, but this one. Here we are, folks. It's time for the Cryptid Corner, ladies and gentlemen. And this is an article from Thought Catalog again. And I guess you can't see that, can you? It's kind of off the screen, but I'll lower it so you can see Thought Catalog, creepy art picture. You know how it goes. All right. But this article is 14 facts about skinwalkers that will 100% scare the hell out of you. It doesn't say the hell word, but that's one I'm using to keep it as family friendly as I know how. Thank God most kids can't read, at least early-aged kids. maybe. And if you can read, don't read that. Don't read your screen. Just listen to the voice. Listen to the voice. I'll guide you. Relax. But this is written by Jacob Greers, and it was last updated 5 months ago. Now, skinwalkers have been one of those topics that's still largely very safeguarded within the Native American communities, especially the Navajo. The Navajo, I think, are who are best known for their concept of skinwalkers, although I don't think it's at all exclusive to the Navajo. But the relationship with skinwalkers goes back to ancient times now. There's a legend that at one time skinwalkers were the heroes of the Native community, the First Nations communities, because they showed up to help fight back the Spanish expansion across North America. And they were exceptionally ferocious warriors and really were instrumental, apparently, in driving back the Spanish expansion into North America, into sacred lands. And they became regarded as heroes. They were celebrated by the Navajo and other tribes as these incredible warriors who saved the day. But apparently then, as I understand it, and I'm very much paraphrasing the history here, but as I understand it, they started to seek more and more power. And that's where they became corrupt and became nefarious, dark, evil, just chasing power instead of virtue and merit. And all of the good things, they started chasing power. And so they became the dark sheep of the First Nations family. Whereas they were the heroes, they became something else and became evil and twisted and shunned and avoided. And even to this day, most Native Americans will not talk about this because the belief is that by talking about this, you draw it to you. They become aware of you. And so I've talked about skinwalkers as much as I can find information. And so far as I know, I haven't met any, but maybe I have. Maybe I just didn't know it. But anyway, let's get into this. 14 facts about skinwalkers. Please, again, support Thought Catalog. Go check it out. There are so many of these incredible stories. They've got exceptionally talented authors working over there, putting together these amazing articles. I have not pre-read this. This is my first time even seeing this, but it looks great. I'm so happy that Jacob Greer's put this article out because it's information. Is it for sure factual? Hell, I don't know. But anybody outside of the First Nations probably isn't going to know. But I'm sure he researched it and has vetted a lot of this information as much as he was able to. So first part, and it's not a long article, so don't worry. It's not going to take exceptionally long. A skinwalker is a person with the ability to transform into a different type of animal at will. Now, I should say that it's not exclusive to skinwalkers for transformations between human and animal counterparts. It's been a part of shamanistic traditions across the world for centuries, generations, thousands of years, perhaps. At least legends of it have been. So this isn't a concept that's unique to the skinwalkers or any North American tradition. It is part of the mystical traditions around the globe. And so just bear that in mind. But number 2, they are most frequently seen as coyotes, wolves, foxes, eagles, owls, or crows. Interesting, though. I had some foxes that I could hand feed back in Minnesota, at least a fox. Started out with a skunk. I didn't feed the skunk, though, but it came right up to me like I was just fine. But I didn't know what it was. The story is, I'm going to go into it anyway because it still baffles my mind. Usually animals are very skittish of people. They're very standoffish. They're like, oh, people, stay the hell away, get away. But it was when I lived back in Minnesota on the shores of the Mississippi River. And I was standing there, and the floodwaters were coming up at this point, one year that I lived there. And Sheldon lived with me at this time. But I was just outside, and I took a red laser because I thought, I wonder if I shone a red laser on the surface of the lake, if some fish will try to bite it. I think that'd be kind of fun. It's pitch black outside. Really can't see anything. But I got this little handheld flashlight with a laser attachment on it. So I decided to start shining the surface of the water with the red laser. Way out there into maybe, 10, 20 feet off the shore. But I'm shooting it around, looking and just seeing if anything. Nothing ever did come and bite. I mean, it's a very murky body of water anyway, so lights probably only last a few feet in that murky depths anyway. So no, I didn't get anything from that, so I quit doing that and was just kind of standing there. And then I noticed this crunching sound coming from my left. I'm facing the water on what's left of the shore, only a few feet left of the shore, but there's a bunch of scrubby crap that had washed up, like sticks, twigs, branches, etc., just from the Mississippi floodwaters, pushing it in and waves and stuff, pushing it into the beach. So I'm standing on one part of the beach and got this little retaining wall, about a 2-foot retaining wall, and then the yard. And from my left, on the beach part, I hear this crunching sound coming, and I'm like, what the hell's that? What is that little crunching sound? And I'm listening, and it's, sure enough, it's getting louder. Like, what is going on? What is this? And then it's getting louder, and it's getting louder, and now it's literally just a couple feet from me. So I take the handheld flashlight that I'm holding. I'm like, I don't know what this is, but I got to get a light on it. It's getting close. I shine my flashlight down 2 feet from me, from my legs, and there it is standing there looking at me, this little skunk. And I'm like, oh God, oh no. Because I'm thinking, it didn't know I was a person. And so I'm just going to shine the light on me to see if he'll just go away. So I shine the light up on me so it could see I'm a person, and it's just looking at me. I'm like, oh God, he's not bothered at all. So I'm thinking maybe he's sick. Maybe something's wrong with this guy. So I just took some steps back. He kind of stepped forward a little bit, but then I think he caught that I wasn't really good with him coming up to me. So he kind of then just changed direction and went somewhere else. But it was like this really peaceful encounter with a skunk. And I grew up to thinking that if you see a skunk, just stay the hell away from it, because they're already stressed seeing you, and they'll just turn on a dime and spray you, and you're screwed. So I was just thinking, God, please don't spray me. So I backed up a couple steps, and it didn't do anything. It just kind of did its own thing and continued along down the beach like it was not bothered by me. And I was like, wow, that's really bizarre. Okay, well, that was that experience. Soon after that, this fox started showing up. And it was a family of foxes. And there's several events of seeing these foxes. First, on the road above where our house is, you have to come down a hill and then down to the beach level. But I would be driving along, and there'd be this fox just standing in the forest where I was growled at. Not in the exact same vicinity, but about a mile and a half away. Started seeing foxes. I'm like, oh, well, that's cool. You don't see foxes too often, but there they are. And then it's like they kept coming closer and closer, and eventually they ended up down at the house, and I was standing there, and again, I was standing outside in the darkness, and I hear something walking. I'm thinking, oh, God, here comes a skunk. So I turned on my flashlight and shined it on myself so I could see it was me, and then I shined it over at the noise, and it was this fox looking at me with his head tipped to the side, just kind of walking up. Like, oh, look at you. And then immediately I look at his mouth, because you don't know if like there's foaming lips, and it's like, oh, God. But he was fine. And I just stood there staring at him. He stood at me, and he just kept coming around. And then I would eventually just bring out pieces of food and toss it to him. He'd eat it, or she, and then she'd go. And then after a while, I could just hold the food down, and she'd come up and take it from my hand and then go. And then one time I just thought I stayed out there for a while with her, him, whatever. And I never looked for for gender, but I had my slippers on, and I decided I'm going to lay down in the grass and see what happens. Well, then it got playful, and it came up and started nipping my toes, and then running away and coming up and nipping my toes like it wanted me to play with it. So it was a really neat experience. But now reading this, it's like, what if that was a skinwalker? I honestly don't think it was. I'm just being funny, but I'd never heard of a skinwalker turning into a fox. But I guess why not? Maybe it's possible. So anyway, that's my skunk fox story, whatever it's worth. So number 3 on this list, some can also steal the faces of different people and could appear as someone you know. That's an interesting one. There was one story I covered where this guy felt absolutely compelled to walk along this forest path near where he lived. But on top of this hill near where he was, it was always considered a very dark place and to stay away. But this one day he felt so compelled. He felt this compulsion to go up there. So he went up there, and he climbed up to the top of this hill, and there stood an old dilapidated cabin. But he could see some movement inside of it. So he's like, what in the hell's going on up here? So he went inside and peered in the doorway, and standing in the room inside of there was himself. And then he was met by the quote unquote skinwalker, who said, I've been waiting here for you to come. And the guy freaked and ran and got away, but he thought that what was supposed to happen was the skinwalker was stealing his identity and was going to kill him or whatever and then take over as him. So I don't know. That was a very probably bad representation of that story. It was much better story to read than what I just relayed to you, but fascinating. What would that be, like a doppelganger, or would that be different? Doppelgangers are usually a spiritual entity, but skinwalkers allegedly are very physical people as well. I don't know. That's a great take, Maggie. Could be both. Could be the same thing. I'm not sure. Certainly we've covered enough doppelganger stories, so very interesting. Number 4, if you accidentally lock eyes with a skinwalker, they can absorb themselves into your body and take control of your actions. So if you believe you're in the presence of a skinwalker, do not look them in the eyes, I guess is the wisdom there. Words to live by, or words to keep living by. Just saying. All right, number 5, rare skinwalkers can also have the ability to enchant the powder of corpses and use the substance as a poison dust on victims. Now, I'd heard that they usually farm bones from the dead to make poisonous weaponry, things that they put into your body without you ever knowing that they did. There was one story that we covered where this old lady, there was a skinwalker harassing the 2 young daughters that lived there, and the grandmother apparently caught wind of it and grabbed the shotgun, went to the fireplace, grabbed ash and rubbed it all over the bullets, and then loaded the shotgun and ran outside. And then soon after, they heard the blam blam, and she said, "It's gone now. It won't ever be back." There's something sacred about fire ash with treating the weapons that you're going to use on skinwalkers. Like normal weapons have no effect, but apparently the fire ash does. I wonder if the same for dogmen, because so many people shoot dogmen to no avail, but wonder if they use the fire ash, if that would help. I don't know, just a thought. But anyway, her granddaughter noticed she was bleeding from the shoulder, and she's like, "Oh, that's weird. I didn't hit anything. I didn't bump into anything." And they thought it was very strange, but they called the shaman in, who said, "Oh, we got to get to this right away," and started this magical ceremony and praying over her, and ended up pulling like a 2.5-inch bone out of her shoulder that was inserted there, and wasn't her bone. So they think that it was supposed to kill her, so as an attack by the skinwalker. The legend of the skinwalkers originates from the Navajo, a southwestern American Native American tribe. Yes, that's for sure. Number 7, in the Navajo language, the word skinwalker is Yi Naglushi. I've heard Nadlushi, but Naglushi, and translates to he who walks on all fours. So if you ever hear of Yi Naglushi or Nadlushi, that is reference to the skinwalker in traditional Navajo language. Number 8, skinwalkers have only entered the public discourse relatively recently compared to other phenomena. In 1996, a team of scientists ventured into a Utah ranch to investigate a series of bizarre phenomena. There's a link to a rake screeching caught on film in 4K. I will put the link in the chats if anybody wants to check that out. Number 9, if their powers weren't enough, skinwalkers are also said to be able to run incredibly long distance. Some say over 200 miles in one evening. That's moving. Number 10, skinwalkers have a tendency to hang around graveyards and can dig up graves at an impossibly fast speed. Yikes. Number 11, while they can take many forms, many people who see them today describe them as hollowed out dog-like animals. I don't know what that means, hollowed out. That's interesting though. Would it look like a hollowed out, like there was nothing inside, just a skin walking around? I don't know. That's creepy description though. Number 12, skinwalkers are said to recruit more skinwalkers than themselves. There is some dispute in how this happens, but some say that there is an official ceremony and that the skinwalkers only take their form with a gathering of people and specific chants. Okay, so what that's suggesting is that they can't do it alone. It's got to be with a collection of other skinwalkers to do the transformations. I don't know. That's the first I've heard of that. 13, with all their advantages, it said that you can kill a skinwalker if you call them by their true human name. Huh. Wonder how you figure out who that is. What is their true human name? Number 14, skinwalkers are most commonly encountered near native reservations. Although they have been seen all over the United States, Skinwalker Ranch in Utah is the most famous. Some people believe the rake, which is commonly encountered in the Northeast, is similar to a skinwalker. Sure. I think that rakes are formerly ghouls, though, from the world of old. 12 people, let's see, 12 people share their terrifying encounters with Navajo skinwalkers. So this was 14 facts. I think we're going to save the second part of this for another show where we listen to 12 people share their terrifying encounters with Navajo skinwalkers. Sounds like a great follow-up for the next show. Maybe on Wednesday we'll cover that. So watch for that. Yeah, there you go. Yinaldlushi is watching me is the first one. Ooh, creepy. All right, and these go on and on. They're pretty good, actually. Maybe that's one of those stories with the dog and the skinwalker dog and the grandmother is in this 12 people share, because I don't remember where I got the story from now, but it could very well have been a Thought Catalog article. Thought Catalog is great, though. They've really got a hell of a catalog of a lot of strangeness. So I hope you guys support them. But let me do this. Oh, I don't want to do that yet. I'll put the link up after we're done with the 12 people share, because I don't want to give it all away. So there you go. That's the first start as we go through this. I got to pull up some stories here. All right, here we go. We're going to start with the other stories of cryptids right now, folks. It's around the world, dadgum flat earthers. Justin Good Earth, yeah. It is surprising to me how many people are willing to and want to believe that the Earth is flat. Like, yeah, I don't believe that it is, but I also don't believe it matters. You know, some people are really wrapped up in the world's a globe, the world is flat, the world's a dome, it's a dish, it's a plate, it's any number of things. And it's like, well, whatever the hell it is, we still got to do our lives and do the best we can. So that's all I'm focused on as much as I can. But anyway, I guess it's worth discussing. Okay, so let's head over to Sasquatch Chronicles for the follow-up on the Cryptid Corner, as we're doing extra tonight, because the last show we didn't do any. So we're doing extra cryptid stuff. I hope you enjoyed the Skinwalker 14 points or facts about skinwalkers. I don't think any of them were really that revolutionary and new, but they're interesting. There's some takes on there that I had never heard of before, and they could be correct historically. I just don't know. It's one of those topics I've really tried to learn about through the years, but the resources are so thin, so few and far between on getting the traditional views of what the skinwalkers are. So I add to my knowledge where I can, when I can. But anyway, let's check this out. Here we go with the next one. There we go. This is Sasquatch Chronicles blog. This is from April 29th. I think this has been live on a show already, but I might be wrong. I was listening to Wes's show today, and I think I might have heard this, but let's check it out. April 29th, strange lights while backpacking. A listener writes, I'm originally from Iowa, but I've lived in the Pacific Northwest for the better part of the last 10 years. I'm currently in Portland, and I did live in Olympia for a few years in my early 20s too, and I'm 31 now. And since I was 21, I've gotten pretty into backpacking. My buddy, who's also from Iowa, helped me move out there when he was hyped on the idea of backpacking. I have read this story. Damn it, I already read this one. We're moving along from Sasquatch Chronicles. I can't believe I'm so sloppy about that. I always try to shut the articles off, but last couple shows I've ended up rereading a few. And that's frustrating because I don't want to give you guys the same material over and over. We're going to go over to Phantoms and Monsters. This is Lon Strickler's site. Again, you know how I feel about Lon and his site. It's exceptionally well done. And definitely go over to YouTube and go to Phantoms and Monsters Radio and subscribe to Lon's channel. And you can watch him doing live on Friday nights at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. And watch him and then follow it up at 7 Pacific or 10 Eastern for the Portal. So, I mean, it's a great Friday night run. And then after my show on Friday night, you can check out Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. I mean, it's a trifecta. It's a great run of shows. So I hope you guys will help support those guys and tune in. Hell, Dave's doing better than all of us, honestly. He's got such a big audience. He's doing a great job. All right, here we go. The were-dog, or rougarou, encountered near Franklinton, Louisiana. So a were-dog. It's not a dog, man. Not a werewolf. It's a were-dog. Or a rougarou. Now, here's the interesting thing. Rougarou, it's a Cajun term from the Louisiana South, deep South. And I don't know. I've heard it referred to many different things through the years. I've heard of a rougarou that was supposed to be kind of like an alligator. Some cross between an alligator and a man. And then I've heard of the dog man kind of rougarou. What's transformative, where somebody is afflicted by this ailment where they basically are a skinwalker, but against their will, like they've been corrupted by some pathogen almost. I don't know. It's very strange. Doesn't mean it's not true. Of course, the old European tales of transformations of people into wolves are old as time as well. So, all right, its hair color was dirty white that covered most of the body, and it was human-like in the upper torso. Not sure about the bottom half. The head was wolf-like and large with a dirty white mane. Lon says, I received the following account. Hello, Lon. Came across your site after searching for a creature I saw in the spring of 2016 in southeast Louisiana near Franklinton. My son, 12 years old at the time, and I were traveling on back highways at about 10 p.m., and we started going around this curve to the right, and another car was coming in the opposite direction, so I dimmed my headlights. And that's when I saw it. This thing was about 8 feet tall. Standing on the right side of the road, it was looking at the other car, and as it passed, it turned to look our way and crouched down into a sprinter starting stance. Its hair/fur color was dirty white and covered most of the body. It was human-like in the upper torso, and I'm not sure about the bottom half. The head was wolf-like and large with a dirty white mane that was thick and running down its back. The encounter only lasted about 10 seconds, and I only focused on the top. The waist was quite thin, with defined human-like musculature. It had its ears back like a cat. Its eyes were bright yellow. Its mouth was wide open and a full set of sharp teeth and long canines. My son claims it had inverted knees like a dog, and I referred to it as were-dog. The fur color and other attributes matched the description of the rougarou, which I was familiar with from the tales told to me by my grandfather. But we saw it less than 10 miles as the crow flies from our home, and that's a bit disconcerting. There was a sighting of a similar upright creature a few years ago, about 3 miles from where we had our encounter. Notes this very similar description to other supposed rougarou sightings encounters that I've received in the past. Very interesting. Yeah, of course it ended. Jesus, I know it ended. Anyway, very interesting. So there you go. It's a quicker, shorter kind of tale, but very interesting. How many of you guys have heard of the rougarou? I'm just curious. I think probably several of you have, but give me a 1 in chat if you've heard of the rougarou, or a 0 if it's brand new to you. You never heard of it before. I'd love to see what you guys have to say. Owl13 says Owl has seen it or heard of it. Yep. Okay. Very good. All right. We got 1. Annie Manuel's heard of it. Sarah and Sunshine and Linda are both brand new to it. Maggie and Rachel Gets It Right have heard of it. Karen Alberting has heard of it. Okay. Barbara Mora and Justin Goodearth have both heard of it over on Rumble. Rock and Rory has heard of it. Okay. Several of you have. Okay. Well, that's pretty cool. But again, I was born in France, Elaine said. Well, there you go. That might be a good excuse. Patrick C says, nope, never heard of it. Okay, Patrick, thank you for weighing in on this too. I appreciate all your inputs. Again, it's basically a southern werewolf tale. But again, I've heard on very odd occasions, I've heard the description as if it was like an alligator person, which was very strange for me, or a lizard-like person or something. But generally, most often I've heard the rougarou or loup-garou as another description of it. Michelle Acchiavati says she's heard of it. Okay. Loup-garou is another distinction for it. It might be more regional versus rougarou. But at any rate, yeah, they're apparently somebody that's afflicted with some kind of curse that causes them to transform sometimes into these werewolf-like things. So they are, I guess, in a sense, a skinwalker of sorts, if that's the case. If it is indeed that. I don't know. Again, it's sometimes the boundary between folklore and potential fact is really hard to distinguish. And by fact, I'm using that term tongue-in-cheek, obviously, because there really isn't much of any factual evidence that we can point to for a lot of this strangeness, other than, experiencers' accounts, people that have come face to face with them or experienced it themselves. I guess there's researchers and such, but I don't know if anybody's researching the Loop Guru, but I think it's almost a voodoo thing, honestly. The Rougarou, Loop Guru, and so it's like a curse, as I understand it. So that's kind of my take on it, what little bits I've been able to piece together about it through the years. My father's people are from Louisiana, Mississippi. It's well known there. Rock and Rory says, yeah, I'll bet. Yeah, that's really a part of the swamp culture is very aware of it. I'm sure, being in the swamps, which is not a preferred location for most of us to go or for people to do a hell of a lot of research. So I think whatever goes on in the swamps is probably, actually swamplands and wetlands are probably some of the most untouched areas on Earth in terms of land. I want to say that first because, of course, the ocean is mostly untouched other than some shipping lanes. So there's a lot going on in the ocean we don't know. But as far as land areas go, swamps and wetlands are very, very occasionally traversed. And even then, I think it's just to get through it. I don't think a lot of people are spending much time really digging into what goes on there, but I'm sure there's all kinds of weirdness in swamps. And the people that live in those swamps have a lot of stories to tell regarding hauntings and supernatural stuff going on all the time. So there definitely seems to be a real different spirit. I'm not going into the swamp, Sharon says. Yeah, I think I wouldn't mind going to the swamps other than my huge dislike of mosquitoes. Like, I don't go out of my way to hurt anything ever, never, but I will hunt mosquitoes on sight. I will kill them. I will go out of my way to kill them. I hate those little bastards. But everything else I will try to avoid or let it live or even help it live. But mosquitoes are definitely on the burn in hell list. Those little bastards suck. So anyway, so that's the Loop Guru, Rougarou, or Were-Dog. Were-Dog is a different take as well. I'm not really familiar with that reference, but it sounds like that's just what the person coined it. It's funny being able to see the states on general flat prairies. Being able to see the states on generally flat prairies. Yeah, we have pythons now. I know. Yeah, that's a lot of irresponsibility there. Could be some zoo escapes and stuff too, though. But I think a lot of people are like, oh, you're too big for my apartment. Go live, be free. You dumb bastards. Yeah. But that's why we got jumping cart probably too. So, I mean, yeah, these species are introduced with absolutely no natural predators. So, of course, their populations are going to explode. Nothing there knows what to do with them. They're brand new. It's like, what the hell is that? They're not preyed on like everything else because they're brand new. But maybe it'll balance in some point in some distant future. But for now, most things don't know what the hell to do with them. We have everything I think you do over there, Maggie. You guys have a lot of everything. So I was just reading about huntsman spiders today. This one guy has a giant huntsman spider that he's happy to have live with them. Because I guess they don't hurt people. They just like to eat a lot of the crap people don't like around anyway. But they're fast and huge and creepy looking, but I guess they're pretty good housemates. I don't know. You have to let us know, Maggie. Is that true? I don't know. I just heard that today. I was just reading about that. All right, let's go to this one. We don't get these stories much either. Aquatic cryptid reports from Florida's St. Johns River. This is brand new to me. It doesn't surprise me, though. Anywhere there's a pretty large body of water or even a substantial length of water in terms of old rivers and stuff, there's lots of claims of river monsters. Again, I don't know if there is these huge plesiosaur lizard-like things out there. Maybe there is. I'm just saying, it's hard to substantiate in any regard because this is an aquatic creature that is essentially in a pretty defined area. So you'd think with surveys and stuff that, they catch anomalous stuff, of course. So maybe something's down there. But it seems, I don't know, where are they going to go unless there's underground aquifers or whatever that we don't know about. But anyway, it seems like they would have turned up, but I'm okay with not being right on that. I'd love for there to be river monsters as long as they're not in my rivers monsters. But I used to watch that show with Jeremy Wade, that white-haired fishing guy. And some of the crap he would pull out of lakes and waterways, even in North America, was absolutely frightening. It's like, oh my God, that was down there? Are you freaking kidding me? No kidding that could eat a toddler. And no kidding it could eat a small person. Or an adult person in some cases. It's like, yeah, there's just huge lunkers down there, folks. And maybe we're still on the food chain as far as they're concerned. So, there is that. Would they be cryptids? No. But they might be some gigantic, some gigantic example of unknown species. But I think every type of biological family tree has examples of both gigantism and dwarfism. And so I guess it's possible. I know here's the thing. I grew up on the Mississippi River. I saw weird things wash up all the time. I learned about gar, which look like a cross between an alligator and a fish. They are these disgustingly aggressive looking things, although I never was bit by one. Never knew anybody do be bit by one, but they're there. There's paddle nose fish, which look like some kind of dinosaur shark fish. They are just these bizarre looking things, and they're in fresh water in North America, Mississippi River for certain. But I also pulled out a water bug. You know those water bugs that kind of scoot along the surface of the water? They're about the size of a dime, maybe. I pulled out one time that was the size of my hand. I don't know if they get that big, but I had it in my hand. I was like, what the hell is this? And picked it up, and it was one of those water bugs. And it was literally the size of my palm. I'm not exaggerating. I swear to everything that's holy. Another time, I caught what most people call shiner minnows, but that thing was at least 9 inches long. So these were both examples of some gigantism in these two examples of these rather diminutive, creatures. Shiner minnows are these little things, but this one was no kidding, like 9 inches long. It was longer than a pencil and much thicker. And it had these bulbous eyes like the little shiner minnows. Like, holy God. So I've seen that stuff firsthand. I can't substantiate it, but I've seen it. I can't show you examples of it because they were personal experiences. The water bug, I thought it was something. I picked it up and like, oh my God, that's a water bug. And then it started wiggling and I'm like, yeah. And it splashed back in the water and took off and of course was never seen again. But that's not supposed to happen. So anyway, let's get to the story. Over the years, there have been many sightings of the fabled monsters of the St. Johns River. The St. John boasts at least 3 distinct unidentified marine animals. There you go. Maybe they're just unidentified. It says, Pam lives in a high-rise apartment building overlooking Florida's St. Johns River, and every morning, weather permitting, she has coffee out on her balcony while enjoying the spectacular view. Good life. Good life. I like the way Pam's living. Some days the river is dark and choppy under gathering storm clouds, and at other times a mist rises from the deceptively placid surface. Sorry, I was really reading that wrong. Obscuring the Jacksonville skyline on the other side, but it was neither dark nor foggy one pleasant morning in the fall of 1993 when a 15-foot serpent-like creature suddenly broke the glassy sapphire smoothness of the seemingly tranquil waters. My God, that's written well. It was a dark gray with a long, skinny neck, and the first thing I thought was of the Loch Ness Monster, she recalled. It was years ago that I saw it. Still, every time I look out across the river, I can't help looking for whatever it is, but she shook her head sadly. I don't know. I know I'll never be lucky enough to see it again. Over the years, there have been many sightings of fabled monsters in the St. Johns River. The St. Johns boasts at least 3 distinct unidentified marine animals. In addition to the long-necked beast described by Pam, there's a dark green creature with a whitish head that ridges down its back and a terrifying pink dragon-type monstrosity. The 310-mile St. Johns River has long been a haven for mysterious water fauna. In the late 1800s, men on a fishing trawler reported seeing a long, fin-backed serpent, and there have been similar sightings throughout the years, but it was during the 1970s that the usually elusive creatures were the most active. Around 11 o'clock in the morning on December 15th, 1975, Bobby Holt and Larry Atkinson were fishing from the Fuller Warren Bridge when they spotted a 20-foot snake-like animal, 14 to 16 inches in diameter. I've been fishing out there for a lot of years, and I've never seen anything like it, Holt declared. It was black and shiny, slippery looking, although a Marine Patrol officer suggested that the men saw was probably a sea cow or manatee. Holt knew better. This was one particular object, and it wasn't a sea cow, because they're bulky and usually stay closer to shore. The thing I saw was out in the middle of the channel under the bridge, and as it swam, its humps came completely out of the water. It looked like a sea serpent. We were both baffled. I have no earthly idea what it was, Atkinson added. It was round like a big snake, but it wasn't a snake. I saw a head, a round head like you see in pictures of those prehistoric dinosaurs, or like a giant eel of some kind, but it wasn't an otter, and it wasn't sea cows, and it wasn't a snake. Snakes swim sideways, and this thing, whatever it was, had humps, and it was moving in an up and down motion. Snakes don't do that. That same day, Jacksonville Public Works foreman John Baumgartner and his crew were working in the San Marco area, caught sight of the aquatic anomaly around 12:30 p.m. as they were eating lunch near the bulkhead at the cessation of LaSalle Street. As he looked out across the river, Baumgartner saw something black or dark gray, with what he described as a watermelon-sized head sticking out about a foot above the water, and the thing was approximately 50 feet or so out in the river, and it sprayed water from the front of its forehead. What? What drew our attention was the snort, Baumgartner recollected. It came up and it snorted, and I could see the spray come out of his nose. It hung there for a second, and down it went again. It stayed up just long enough to where you could see it good. It was like a snake, a big, thick snake, a good foot in thickness, going up and down, he continued. When it came up and snorted, it was so close. I could see the spray. He, the creature, just looked around, took a breath, and the rest of his body went down, and its head looked like a big football, really dark. He was humped up in the water, and all I could see was the head and a little bit of the back as he went down. It looked sort of like a walrus or a sea lion you might see up in Canada, but it was real long, with a snout or something like that, and it went down in sections like a hump, and then finally the tail came over, and the tail was flat like the rudder of a plane. And Baumgartner's crewmen saw the nautical beast as well and continued to watch the river for about 25 minutes after it went under, but the anomaly never resurfaced. I've read a lot of nature books, but I've never seen anything like it, Baumgartner added. It was nothing like a sea cow, and there's no way it was otters. I've hunted otters before, and I know one when I see one. After seeing the river serpent when assigned to the San Marco area, Baumgartner and his men always chose the spot at the end of LaSalle Street to have lunch, hoping the strange animal would reappear. I don't know if it was dangerous, the foreman said, but I would have liked to get a better look. It happened so darn quick. I never saw anything like it before, and probably never will again. About an hour later, the river monster was sighted a third time. Dave Green was crossing the Fuller Warren Bridge when he saw a long-necked animal break water about 25 yards from the eastern shore, and it looked to me like an eel with a rigid hump down the middle of it. I almost ran off the road when I saw it. Evidently, it's something feeding in this area. In July 1976, approximately 25 people witnessed the same serpentine creature, or one very similar. Kathy Kirkland, who was fishing in St. John's near Stockton Park, when she noticed something with the head the size of a basketball about 50 feet from shore. I had a line in the water, and when it first came up, I thought it was heading towards my bait. At first, I thought it was 3 sea cows, she admitted, but after watching it a while, I realized it was all connected together. Wherever the head would go, the tail would soon follow. The river creature was observed for approximately 10 minutes on this occasion. Onlookers, one of whom was a Navy meteorologist, claimed the animal appeared to be feeding, oblivious to the excited shoreside crowd. A creature of an entirely different type was sighted near the Clapboard Creek Fish Camp. One stormy day in May 1975, Dorothy and Charles Abram, Brenda Langley, Ed St. John, and Wallace McLean saw a huge pink water beast, which Miss Abram described as a dinosaur with its skin pulled back so all of its bones were showing.
Bank.
What did that say? It said bank. The ghost box said bank. A river bank. Come on. Really? Ooh, that's cool. That's pretty cool. Someone's listening to the stories. Yep, as they were standing on the riverbank watching these monsters. That's very interesting. I saw this thing about 50 yards away and I thought, my God, what is that? And then when it came closer, it was checking us out. It was really curious what we were, and it wasn't scared of us. She screamed for the others to look, but they were watching the approaching storm. The horrible thing disappeared and then came back up about 20 feet away. It was so ugly looking, like the pictures you see of dragons. It had a large head with horns like a snail, fins along the back of its long neck, and a mouth that turned down at the corners. I just saw the neck, Charles Abram added. It was a long neck, and I'll tell you that much. The women were scared to death. Pausing a moment, he declared, "We weren't drunk." On November 21st, 1976, an approximately 8-foot-long aquatic animal with a round whitish head and dark green body took the bait of a woman fishing near Chicopit Bay in the Fort Caroline area of Jacksonville. The lady felt a tug and realized she had snagged a big one, and not wanting to break her line, she began running along the shore. 3 or 4 other fishermen followed, eager to see what she was bringing in. And while attempting to reel in her catch, the line broke, and those watching caught a glimpse of something the likes of which they had never seen before. One witness said it looked like a prehistoric animal with high ridges on its back and an alligator tail with a round head like a basketball. Louis Boger, who was among a group of fishermen that day, claimed, "When we got a good look at the thing, one of the other men ran." A marine biologist at the Marine Science Center in nearby Mayport surmised the animal might have been a marine iguana of the type that inhabits the Galapagos Islands off the coast of South America. In an attempt to identify the creature, he showed Boger some slides of the iguana as well as the sea and freshwater turtles, and according to Boger, none looked anything like what he had taken the woman's bait that day. Boger, who fished at Chicopit Bay several times a month, said the marine biologist also asked if he, Boger, I don't know if that's Boger or Boger, would be willing to wade out for a closer look should he see the mysterious animal again. I looked at him and said, "Man, there ain't no way I'm wading out in that river with something like that out there." Northeastern Florida has a maze of rivers, lakes, and creeks and branches all connected with long-necked gray monster affectionately called Johnny. Or one very much like it was reported in the Intercoastal Waterway near Crescent Beach, just south of St. Augustine on April 1978 by Kelly Parrish and her friend. The 2 men were fishing from their boat, and Parrish was dozing off when he said they heard something blow and saw this snaky-looking thing surface about 75 yards away, and they believed the animal was feeding. It would go down and come up with what looked like grass or kelp in its mouth, he recalled. It undulated like a snake, but up and down, not sideways, and he had little things on top of his body that looked kind of like an alligator's tail. It was definitely a sea serpent, and after the sighting, Parrish returned to the area hundreds of times with his camera, but the enigmatic beast never appeared again. It's a very long article. Of course, not everyone believed Parrish, and some thought that what he had seen was nothing more than manatees or porpoise. Concerning the non-believers, he declared, "I couldn't care less. I know what I saw, and that's all that's important to me." Richard Coleman's wetlands preservationist and one of the founders of the Florida chapter of the Sierra Club has never seen anything similar to the marine anomalies reported in the St. John's. It is his contention that people are often mistaken about what they see in the water. However, in a discussion with investigators, Maria Clark, Coleman acquiesced somewhat. If there are such things, the St. John's is the kind of water body that they might inhabit, he admitted. The river starts in the marshes and streams, and some fed by deep springs flow into it all the way to the ocean in some places. St. John's is 2 miles wide, and in other places it's 80 feet deep. The river flows slowly, and it's affected by the tides that causes a reverse flow and brackish salty water miles from the ocean. I suppose what I'm saying here is that if it's big, and it's a big if, these things exist, they could be saltwater creatures entering St. John's from the ocean. Assuming this is the case, then they would probably enter the river only periodically, which could account for why they aren't seen very often. Johnny and his fellow monsters have been witnessed by many people along the St. John's River and its tributaries. With the last verified report in 1993, however, local news reporters have adopted a tongue-in-cheek approach to the sea serpent sightings, and many, fearing ridicule, keep such encounters to themselves. This is the reason 2 women who saw the gray long-necked creature near an island on the eastern side of the Matthews Bridge in the fall of 2007 refused to tell anyone other than their family and friends. Typical of those who decline to report river monster sightings is Toby Johnson. Oh, that's not the Toby Johnson I know about, but an elderly man in faded overalls and wearing an old straw hat who spends many mornings sitting on a rickety pier in the Arlington area of Jacksonville, fishing with a cane pole. "Yeah, I've seen them things," he admitted. "I've been seeing them since I was a boy, but I don't say nothing about it. Used to. You could tell all people all kinds of things, and they believe you. Now they say you're drunk or you're crazy. But that river's long and that river's deep, and there's things in there we just don't know about. There's things in there we won't ever know about." So there you go. This is written by apparently Bill Foley. The saga of the St. John's River monster grows by the decade. River monster of Arlington remains a mystery, and sure, it's a 4-shrimp pink manatee with horns. So, the Florida Times-Union. There's lots of sources here. Great collection of stories, though. I didn't really realize all of the things going on in the Florida waterways. I'd never heard any of these reports before, so I'm glad that we read it. But I can just tell you, every show is an adventure, folks. You just never know what we're going to dig up here on the portal. But I hope you had a good time with it. I hope you guys enjoyed the journey. Thank you again, everybody, for being here. Of course, that's an amazing thing for me, especially, because I just love that you guys come and hang out with me and we talk about all this weird stuff that I love so much. So hope you all had a good time. Taco says it's a wonderful show. I always support Brent and his fans. You are one of my fans, aren't you? You're also a friend, of course. I wish and pray I'll meet Brent in person soon. Much love, and always wishing the best. Yeah, I mean, that'd be great to meet any of you guys. Of course, Taco, I'm going to be in Missouri in the end of September with the Crossing Realms Conference. So if you're able to make it to Missouri, then come on down. End of September. I'll be there. And any of the rest of you as well. Let's certainly, I'm going to be in the beginning of September in Vernal, Utah for Phenomicon. And then in the end of September, I'm going to be in Missouri for that adventure. So I hope you guys will make it to at least one of them, at least some of you guys. It'd be great to say hello to you and hang out a little bit. So anyway, just an opportunity that we can get together. I'd love to meet all of you if I could. Maybe I'll get out sooner, more than I do now. There's a lot I want to do. God, there's so much I want to do. But anyway, I'm doing everything I can. Thank you, Michelle. Michelle Akiavati says, yes, thank you. You guys don't need to thank me. Thank you guys for coming in and being a part of the journey with me. It really means the world, and I've I really love doing these shows. So thanks for making it special, because if I was just sitting here talking to myself, it wouldn't feel that special. So thanks for being here with me, guys. Thank you, Rachel. I appreciate that. Rachel, you're always wonderful. Thank you to our mods and everybody who's been here helping to keep things going well. Justin Goodearth, Barbara Mora over on Rumble. Good to see you. And to all of you on YouTube, wonderful to see you all. Patrick Sieg, great show. Good night, everyone, I think is what he meant to say. Rock and Rory, good to see you. Thanks for coming in. And thank you all. So, oh yeah, Patrick said everyone at the end. Good night, everyone. There you go. That's going to wrap it up for us, though, folks. That's all I got for you. So I hope you had a good time. Thank you for being a part of the journey, as always. Pretty cool that the ghost box said bank. I mean, we're talking about river monsters and people fishing along the bank, sitting along the bank, having lunch. And then the ghost box says bank. You got to admit, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. That's an intelligent response, I would say. But you be the judge. Maybe it's the law of averages. Sooner or later, it's going to spit out something that makes sense to something I'm talking about. But it's also kind of creepy, but in a good way, I hope. So anyway, that's what I got for you. You guys take care. Remember, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. I'll be back, I believe, on Wednesday, unless something comes up. But if not, make sure to follow the social media pages, the X/Twitter page. Follow on Rumble. Follow everywhere you can. Instagram, TikTok, all over the place. I've got Paranormal Portal stuff, and I try to announce if there's any changes in shows or when shows are going to happen. I try to announce as quickly as I can so you guys know. So keep an eye on those things, especially unexpected show nights. Watch for any postings, and then watch for the postings saying, hey, we'll see you guys in a little bit, because that's your affirmation. But anyway, that's what I got. So see you on Wednesday. Watch on Monday. Watch for the new podcast episode. Hopefully it's another good one. I love doing the podcast as well. There's been some great shows lately. Well, they're all great shows, honestly. But I hope you guys tune into those. You can find the podcast of the Paranormal Portal on any of the platforms out there. That's a very different show from what you're watching here. This is just the live streams. Sometimes I make the live streams into podcast episodes, but generally speaking, they are two very different shows. So, but hopefully both good. So, all right, that's it for me. I'm all sweaty and need to relax a little bit. So good night, everybody. See you next time. Until then, take care of yourselves.